ticks. Each year, they cause a number of diseases in the United States, including Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, ehrlichiosis, babiosis, and more. Each year, approximately 30,000 cases of Lyme disease alone are reported to the CDC by state health departments. Currently, to combat ticks, potentially harmful pesticides are applied to everything from lawns to pets to humans. Even organic sprays, which may boast healthier ingredients, have to be reapplied frequently and may not be as effective.
But nature has its own way of taking care of ticks, and that's the northern bobwhite quail. This small bird is a natural predator of ticks, and when properly raised and released into the wild, can significantly keep tick populations under control. We'll get a first-hand glimpse of this magnificent creature as we raise an entire batch of chicks from birth to adulthood to release right here on this episode of Off the Trail. We just got the eggs in the mail, so I'm really happy about this. And also the quail incubator is set up. And let's take a look here, what's going on inside. We've got a thermometer, so it's registering right at 99 degrees. And you always want a backup thermometer as well. And what you're gonna notice is that there are 4 tracks usually inside, and that is for water. And obviously this right here is the auto turner, and this is a new and fancy one. I love it because literally the base plate just shifts back and forth, which has the intended side effect of rolling the eggs. We're gonna be putting these eggs right in here. And of course we have to take them out of the styrofoam. You can't leave them in this. And if you ever want to take a look inside and see what's going on, you use what's called a candler and check them out because what you're going to see inside is a dark spot that's starting to grow. And sometimes you'll even see this lighter color up here in the top. There's a round circle. That's their air sac. So when the baby takes its first breath, it's going to be poking into that little air sac and getting its first breath right there. Now, as we put these eggs in here, we want to just take a little marker and put a dot on them just to make sure that these eggs are actually turning, because without a mark on the egg, there's really no way we can get a reference point. Now, as soon as we put these in here, the timer starts for 25 to 26 days that you need to keep track of on your calendar. All right, so there we go. All the eggs are in place. Our temperature is good. That's cooled off a little bit, but that's no biggie. And in week 2, this will be good like this. Week 3 then, you want to pull one of these plugs out. That's going to add to the air exchange going on inside because they're going to be larger inside the egg and they're going to be metabolizing more, essentially breathing through the eggshell. And then the last week, you got to pull this one off as well. And I think during that last week, it's really important to lift the lid off several times a day to really get a good airflow through there. So here we go, 25 days, and let's see how our little chick eggs do here.
The northern bobwhite quail can live up to 5 years in the wild, although their numbers are rapidly declining. Their conservation status is considered near threatened by the IUCN, but locally they remain unprotected. They primarily eat small invertebrates such as ticks, snails, grasshoppers, spiders, and ants, and switch to seeds, wild berries, and more in winter. Their eggs are incubated for 23 to 24 days, and then the young are taken care of for another 2 weeks until their first flight.
Yes, we are parents here in North Hempstead. We have about 26 hatched quails. We started out with 36 eggs, 26 were successful. So it means there was a lot of tender, loving care. The quails are adorable. We love watching them, and it was so great because the students and the young kids from Yes We Can Community Center have been watching the process as it has evolved. So it's just been a great educational experience as well. As they mature, we're going to be releasing them into our wooded areas, and these adorable, wonderful quail are going to eat ticks.
All right, so we have chicks that are now 10 days old, and it's time for them to head off to Chickie Summer Camp. And that's gonna be here in this pen behind me, which, by the way, is a huge flight pen. And here is where we get to teach them how to be adult quail. So they're gonna learn how to fly and how to interact with other quails and catch live food and all that fun stuff. Hey, welcome home, chickies. So yeah, I'm just checking over your birds here. Their pin feathers are just starting to come in. So they're going through a huge growth right now with all their feathers starting to come in, their juvenile feathers. Aren't you so cute? Welcome. So these guys look great. These birds are 10 days old, and we're gonna put them in here, this much larger brooder. And the advantage of being out here is that now bugs from the wild are gonna end up coming in here, sometimes even attracted to the lights themselves. And so they'll come in and these birds will just naturally wanna eat them. So it's teaching them, this is like quail school week 1 right here. So in here, they've got the heat lamps here, they've got their food, they've got plenty of water. So, and this is where they're gonna be for the next 2 weeks in here. And eventually they'll be out, then released into this much larger pen, which is where flight school begins.
The chicks remain in their enclosed flight school until they are 8 to 10 weeks old. Once they are fully matured and ready to fly, it's time for the most exciting part, their release into nature.
So today is the day we've all been waiting for. These little babies have hatched, we've raised them up, and now today we're gonna be setting them free. So the birds are all ready to go and it's time to release them, so let's go.
These quails were hatched at Yes We Can Community Center in an incubator there. So we had 1,000 people watching through our quail cam and some watching exactly in person as these quails hatched and came to life. So today we're going to be releasing them. We're hoping that they will do their job eating ticks.
So these guys just went from hatching to graduating college in 9 weeks. They've been living in an outdoor pen, learning how to fly, how to be afraid of predators, and certainly there have been some predators that visited, and we hope that they go out here now and do what they do. These are birds that live on the ground. They're not great flyers. They prefer to walk and run. So they're going to be eating bugs that live here on the ground, and that's going to be ticks too.
All right, so we wanted to release the rest of the quail into another park to give the best chances of survival here. So I've been hiking here in this park, and there's a great diversity of habitat right here for these guys. I've seen lots of bugs walking around on the ground, and this would be good food and good cover for them. So I think this is a great time to set our other batch free. Show them the way. Show them the way home. Go on. This is wonderful. They're already starting to eat. I can tell they're hungry, and there's plenty of food here for them to munch on. And the others are coming out now. There was one quail that went one direction, and the rest of the covey went the other direction, and they're over there eating and munching away, and the one single quail was like, wait, I'm all alone. So the noise he was making was like that. So he was calling out there, basically asking the rest of his covey, like, where are you? Almost like Marco, until finally one of the quail must have heard him and gave the call back, and then just like that, he just took right off and made a beeline right for the rest of the birds. And so now they're all reunited and heading off into the bushes, and they're only about 10 feet away, and I can't even see them anymore. They're silent, they're moving very slowly, and they're perfectly camouflaged for this environment. So good luck, you guys. Managing quail habitat is an important part of a healthy quail population. This field is an example of one of those managed properties, and it's left fallow for these grasses to grow up, and the grasses will eventually get about this high and even slump over in the winter. And it's important for these grasses to bend over and create pockets of space underneath. This is where the quail will overwinter, and without fields that with tall grasses and flowers and all this diversity of life out here, the quail can't survive the winters. So that's why it's important to have proper habitat for our quails, as well as managing feral cat colonies and things like that.
And while it may be time for our chicks to venture out into the wild, where they will consume numerous ticks and other pesky bugs daily, they also bring hope for the future of their species. Our quail will continue to raise generations of chicks, but they need our protection from their most dangerous predator, the house cat. And by helping the quail, we also help ourselves by reducing tick populations along Hempstead Harbor Trail and hopefully beyond.
So if you want to watch full episodes of Off the Trail, you can visit mynhtv.com. And to learn more about raising quail, you can visit me at yc2n.com. Until next time, I'll see you off the trail.